Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're reaching the second edition of our show for the week. This one is going to be talking about the Buildback Better Act and some of the interesting stuff that, we find out that we have 13 traitors on the Republican Party that went on the side of the Democrat Party to pass this act, and it has passed, I guess, from the last 24 hours from what I'm hearing. So we're going to be talking about this, what they slid in, what's it connected to, and what they're not telling us about it, because this one is going to affect everybody. This is going to affect your job. This is going to affect what you put on your table for food. This is going to affect your bank accounts. This is going to affect everything. So listen up. So welcome aboard. You reached the whole info show. Take everything we say with a grain of salt, but do your own research like we have. Maybe you come up with the same thing. And we take no claims on anything, medically, legally, or otherwise. And through any of my shows, we always give our opinions on anything and everything that we do on any topics that we talk about. So we'll be adding that in there as well. So the HR 5373 Buildback Better Act, you can look this up under congress.gov. That's congress.gov. I'll give the link in a little bit to exact page, but we're going to discuss what they passed. So this is, I guess, what they were looking at on doing. There's different timeline dates on stuff, but these are some things what they're looking for funding for: management of national forests, job placement, career services, safe drinking water, energy efficient weatherization projects. Get that, weatherization projects. That's like those ones that you see in the skies right now from your airplanes. Electric vehicles, zero emission, heavy duty vehicles, public health infrastructure, health chain resiliency, housing, rental, homeowner assistance programs, cybersecurity programs, tribal infrastructure, housing, environment, and health programs. It goes on and on and on. Let's see what else. Additional bills establishing programs for 6 semesters of free community college, free childcare for children under the age of 6, and free universal preschool services, healthcare benefits for eligible individuals residing in the U.S. and that has not expanded to Medicaid. And then also includes establishing, here's the part that they don't tell the public. The bill also includes establishing a methane-free for certain petroleum and natural gas facilities, expanding Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision care, provide certain aliens a path to permanent residency for those entering the U.S. as minors. So they want to rush all those south border kids, okay, that are aliens, illegals, to permanent residency status. And it says provide, also it says here, provide up to 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave, restructuring and increase of tax rates in certain corporations, high-income individuals with incomes over $400,000. Well, who the heck in the middle class would make that? Requiring the Department of Health and Human Services to negotiate a maximum price of certain brand name drugs under Medicare. So they're wheeling and dealing with your Medicare on all your drugs, right? So let's get into it. That's the summary. This is the actual text. And hopefully we won't make this a very long show like the other one where it's an hour. This is going to be probably brief. And as soon as it loads here, let's see here. Any text, nothing there. I know they had some interesting stuff. Okay. Amendments, titles, actions, committees. Okay, let's see. Okay, related bills that it's related to. That's what I wanted to get to. Because Usually when they pass something in Congress, it's always attached to something else, to another bill, to another thing of some sort. And it has like skeletons in the closet kind of thing, right? So, yeah, we're going to pop them out. You know, you can tell my attitude. I'm so disgusted with the system the way it's going right now because, you know, I think a lot of patriots are maybe losing hope right now because they're not seeing the actions. Remember, the actions are speaking louder than the words, and all we hear is a bunch of talking. You know, like what's the saying? Uh, bullshit walks or something talks. I don't know what that thing was, but you know what I'm saying, right? And we're hearing a lot of BS, but no action. You know what I mean? And the T-Man needs to get his fingers out of his ears, his nose, his mouth, his butt, and everything else, and get it done. Because there isn't going to be a country left for him or anyone else of any governor of any state unless, you know, it's getting done. You know, this next election won't even be, probably, you know. But whatever. I don't know. We'll see. That's my opinion. All right. So anyway, so I was looking over here for all the attached bills, right? That's relating to in relationship to all the stuff that they're dealing with on this Buildback Better Act thing that they passed, right? And see, here's the thing, they got Freedom from Price Gouging Act, but I don't see it going in effect because our food prices are going up, our gas prices are going up, our items that we need for any regular supplies for anything, whether it's a business or residential or independent or whatever, is all going up. Even your witches, your little stones and all your little wands and whatever crap you use are going up, okay? So, yeah, this crap with the Biden thing is going to put a damper in your back pocket. You thought you didn't have money now? You ain't going to have anything, okay? Anything. You can tell I'm so disgusted, right? Okay. All right, so they have something called a Greener Transportation for Communities Act. Okay. They have, let's see, and that one's the weird one because remember I told you about the Green Deal stuff? Be very, very leery. Always be cautious with any climate change, Green Deal situation, anything. Read what the bill entitles before you pass it, all you Republicans, okay, and independents, but also read also for the Americans what these bills are that they're passing. And then how do you, people are always asking me, how do you stop them from passing a bill? You call your local congressman. I don't care what town in what state of the United States, you call your local congressman and you mouth off to him every day. If you can't get no one else to help you, call in and tell them, do not pass this bill because of da 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 da. And you repeat the message every day until it sinks in their thick, fat, money back pocketing skull. Got it? That's with everything, okay? It's time for us patriots to start calling our congressmen on the carpet and calling them on the phone, but especially calling them on the phone and saying, we're not taking no more of your shit. My tax-paying dollars are paying for your position to represent me, and you are not representing me. Got it? So all you patriots, get on the bullhorn and sound off. All right, now back to the real issue here. So they're talking about a lot of things: school infrastructure, modernization act. I can't even say that. I got too much in my mouth. on that one. And then let's see, Internal Revenue Code, they're going to amend from 1986. A lot of other things and so on and so forth. Let's see. Hang on a minute. Oops, that went too fast here. So, all right. Okay, companion measures, identical bill. Okay, so let's see what their identical bill is. Let's see. And then they didn't amend this, but they're related to the other bills. All this stuff that I'm showing you guys can see on congress.gov. Real easy. Congress, CONGRESS.gov. And then look up the number. Let's go back. Okay. Because here's the thing. You, as citizens that are on the right side of the realm and the independents, and some of you Democrats that turned over to the Republican side, really need to put Biden underneath the microscope, but especially all the Democrats, because they're the ones that they think is in charge of this country. They're communists and they think they're in charge of this country, and they are not listening or helping out in any manner to bring this country together. Not in any manner at all. When they put bills out like this is going to separate the country even further. It's like, how far and wide are we going to separate this country before the next election? Are you going to damage it completely to where you're going to turn it into Russia? Or communist China? Okay? Or whoever? Okay? Do you feel me? I mean, I know I'm in right now in the Southwest Florida area because I'm investigating this Brian Laundrie case. But I noticed in Northport, they have a lot of Ukraine, a lot of Russians, and a lot of Germans here in other areas and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of Europeans in this area. And I'm hearing stories every day of how bad it was in their country. Even Spanish people from Venezuela and other places, how bad it was in their country. And they're like, you know what? United States right now under Biden plans and his leadership and Harris's and all the Democrats' leaderships are following the same pathwork as our country's falling. Now, when are you guys going to wake up? When you have no more money in the bank and you can't buy any more medicine when you're a retired person, you're going to die and you don't give a shit because you died? Or is it going to be when you don't have no more money for you young people to go out and buy any more cars or, get parts to fix them with, or go to the mall to buy stuff or a store to buy your clothing and your name brand stuff? And it becomes, instead of your $75 sneakers, all of a sudden becomes $775 sneakers. Okay. Or is it going to be when the middle class people here, the ones that are the working class, say, I don't got time to think about it because all I'm doing is working, because they're slaves basically for the whole system, right? And then they go to the grocery store and wonder why they got 2 pieces of meat and maybe 10 other items that cost them almost $100. I mean, how stupid are you Americans out there? I mean, even if you don't even agree with this bill, or you disagree with it, or you are with the bill, I don't care what your thing is, all the problems that we're having right now with price gouging on the food and the fuel, the gas, why aren't you guys on the telephone right now calling your congressman and bitching to them that you're tired of these high prices? Do something about it. My tax-paying dollars pay for your position to do something about it. Where's your balls? Man up, all you patriots and ladies. Call your congressman. Call them on the carpet. Call them on the phone. And call them on these situations that are happening currently. How do you stop a steamship rolling, you don't put no more water in it to get it going. How do you do that? You call them up and you stop them. And everybody has to sound off. Here's the thing. People say, well, hey, I don't have a phone book. Look up on the internet. Here, want me to show you? Let me show you how you do that. Let's say I'm living in, I don't know, what's some of you guys from? I'm going to say Alabama. Congress. And see right here. See how it comes up on a search engine? All the search engines have AI. Okay? Pretty much. They'll tell you what congressman comes up. They'll tell you a whole list of them, different ones. Okay? Pick one. Call them. Even if it's not your congressman, pick something in your state and call them. Here's Barry Moore. I don't know how good he is, how bad he is. If he's a Democrat, if he's a Republican, we'll find out here shortly. Okay? And I'm not in Alabama, by the way. Okay? Barry Moore, House of Representatives. Okay, he's got Facebook. Here's the thing. Don't ever sound off on social media. Okay? Don't do anything on social media. Phone calls or walk-ins. Or certified letter where they have to sign for it. Got it? See, so there's Derek, what's his name? Barry Moore. I don't know. We're not going to go in that because I'm not here to explore that. I shouldn't have to be able to teach all you Americans how to call your congressman, for goodness sake. Come on. And if you're too old or too young and lazy, then you get to die. Because you didn't put in your efforts. Okay? Got it? I'm sorry, but you know what? It's time to, bend over these congressmen over your knees and start giving the spankings that their mom and dads should have gave them a long time ago, which we, the taxpayers, are the mom and dads, by the way, because we pay for their jobs. Okay? Right along with any alphabet soup freaking thing, okay, out there of agencies, of anybody else. I mean, do I need to host an actual show on, okay, how do I call my congressman? Or how do I, send them send them a letter on, I'm disagreeing with their thing on passing the act, or the high prices of gas and food and all this. Come on, get real, people. Smell the coffee. Any questions so far? Let me check. No. Right? Of course not. All right, so HR 5373, or no, 5376, right? Let's see what kind of actions is happening with it. Remember, this bill already passed. So, guess what? In about 5-6 years, we're all going to be forced to have electrical vehicles. Here's the thing. If we're forced in electrical vehicles, I don't care what state you're in. I don't care if you're mountain, flatland, wet or dry, whatever your deal is. If a lightning storm happens, what do you think is going to happen to that electric vehicle? I don't care if it's a truck or car, or even an 18-wheeler run by Telsa. Okay? Here's the bigger picture. What's going to happen when the sun blows up with a huge solar flare with an EMS pulse coming from that sun hitting the earth? What do you think it's going to do? It's going to fry all electronics, which means fry all electrical cars, which means what happens then? We rebuild. What do we rebuild with then? Guess what? Fossil fuel. I mean, how stupid is the green climate control shit? I understand we need to curb our CO2, but unfortunately, we have stupid people in our politics in this country, as well as globally, directing connection to the UN and everything in between, okay? And all the Green Deal and climate control situation is an excuse to get more funds. So they got to hide it in the Green Deal and climate control program and bills. Okay? This is one of them. You'll find out there's going to be a lot more coming on this one. Things are going to change drastically like never before. You thought you're crying now at the pumps and crying at the grocery stores. I went to 2 grocery stores in Southwest Florida. One was USave. Listen to this. I just got to tell you this. I go there. It's a Monday. You would think it's a normal work week, at least Monday through Friday, right, to have normal employees. I get in there. Their meat is 90% gone. I ask, is there a butcher in the back? No, we don't even have one on today. Why not? I ask. Because it's his day off. I'm like, are you kidding me? Well, can't the manager go back there and get some? She's like, no. I'm like, what? Don't you guys get it? And the shelves the same way were half empty. Okay? That's just on one store. Then I went to Aldi. Okay? Now, yes, they had meat, but of course, you know your meat prices are up right now. Okay? But when I went in there, their stock was about 25% down. They didn't have anything like 25% off their shelves. Were gone, right? So I did notice they had a semi in. I noticed there was a huge crew in there starting to unload the semi. So they must have gotten a shipment in, you know, and they're starting to fill shelves up. In the meantime, in both stores, I get people that are not aware of price structuring on products on per ounce or pound. And I caught at least 3 customers that was buying something that was something that they couldn't really afford, but they're looking for something cheaper, but they didn't know how to do it. Right? So I get into this situation of, all right, okay, should I go ahead and educate them? Does it take just one person at a time to educate one person at a grocery store that will maybe educate someone else at a grocery store? I guess that's how I started my YouTube channel. So I guess that's the way we got to do it, you know? And maybe it's the patriot in me. I don't know. Maybe it's God's direct notion. I don't know what it is. But I went ahead and did it, you know? So the first lady over at USave, she was like, man, the prices are up high. And I says, yeah, they are. I says, isn't that crazy? I said, what do you think about that? Right? And she's like, I can't get over how high they are. And I says, well, have you really, really thought about that? Do you know where your food's coming from? She's like, well, yeah, I can tell she was old, so she knows it come from the farm and all that stuff. I says, but do you really understand why your prices are high right now? And she's like, well, I just know everything's going up. Well, this is a typical grandmother. Okay. She's lost her connection in the world. She really doesn't know what's going on. It's an elderly couple. They're in their 60s, maybe older. I don't know, but has no concept of time. They have maybe concept of, pinching pennies and trying to save money, but they have no concept of time or what's happening in the real world. And then they wonder why they're paying these high prices at the grocery store, right? So we had a discussion over the meat area that we didn't have 90% meat gone. Okay. And I says, well, let's think about that. If we don't have any food, that means some truck didn't come in. And also, too, I checked and they don't have any workers. She's like, yeah, I heard they didn't have any workers. I says, well, then they didn't get no supply in either, did they? Because they don't have no workers to take the food off the truck to bring into the store. She's like, well, yeah, okay. But I says, now think about that even further. If Biden increases our gas prices, what do you think happens to the farmer? The farmer uses diesel fuel for a lot of his farm stuff, whether it's for animals or whether it's for crops. And at the same time, I says, if he increases that, then the farmer has to increase the food. And then what happens, that goes to some cleaning plant if it's produce, and then on to a warehouse, which they have their own fees on top of that. So by the time it gets to the grocery store, it's probably raised at least 6 times in the real version basic price, baseline price. She's like, wow, I really didn't think about that. And I says, well, yeah, it's not like the old days where you get it right from the farm to go to the store. That's it. You've got a lot of middlemen in between. And you've got 18-wheeler trucks trying to haul it around all these different places, which add on the costs. She just looked at me and she's like, wow, okay. And then she says, well, is there any farms around here where we can buy stuff from? I says, not here. You have to probably travel inland, like Arcadia or someplace, or some of the other highland areas of Florida or something, maybe, She's like, oh, well, we don't want to spend the gas because it'd be expensive. I says, exactly. So that's why you're paying more at the price. I says, I don't know if you're Democrat or Republican. I'm not getting into politics, but I says, I don't think, that Biden was a good choice, or Democrat is a good choice right now, because that's what their plan is to do and to move forward to get things so expensive that they basically kill off the population because they don't have enough food to eat and they can't afford the fuel for their cars and the repairs that needs to be done, as well as anything else, right? And they're like, the husband says, yeah, she's right. She's right on everything she's saying. And he's a military man. So I said, all right, well, then you guys need to talk about this because you need to budget in a different way, So we were talking about different cuts of meat. And, and just working, meals off of that and stuff like that. But I'm not going to get into that on this one. So that was my first one. Then the second one at Aldi, I go to her and I tell her the same thing. And then she's like, oh, yeah. And she's like all gun-ho, and I can tell she's a Republican, And all gun-ho on that one. And she's like, yeah, I agree. And she says, but my son thinks I'm crazy and all this stuff. I says, well, have you ever asked yourself a question, is your son a Democrat? She says, oh, yeah, he is. I says, well, that's why he's going to disagree with you. He wants that communist agenda. She says, what? He doesn't realize it's going to hurt him. I says, no, he's not going to realize it until he can't have anything. And then it's too late. I says, here's the thing. You could sit there as a mom or you could sit there as a friend and talk to another Democrat any way you want to. You can do it diplomatically the best you can. But until they actually go without, they won't know, and they won't go on and be on that side, see? It's only when you're without that you realize what a terrible mistake you did being in the Democratic Party, right? But there's a lot of them out there, believe it or not, that are Democrats that are very eco-conscious, and some that are wearing masks still in the store now, where you don't have to in Florida. And you could tell. You can always tell a Democrat. They'll wear a mask. That's a big clue there. And a lot of them will carry their own bags in sometimes. They'll talk in a certain manner in the store. They'll buy the little vegetarian kind of stuff to make meals out of, and etc. and so on. A lot of giveaways. And that's what gave away the laundries too, but whatever. That's just my comment there. Anyway, so this bill, the Buildback Better thing, is not a good thing for us economically. It's going to crash the system in food. It's going to crash the system in gasoline, goods, repairs, consumptions, parts, retail-wise, etc. And then financially. So I'm going to give you guys the actual link, which I will put on the screen right now. I will show you the bill, and then I'll tell you about one more thing. Hey, good afternoon, Lottie. Let me put this in here for the other link for the show. This is the actual bill that they passed, I believe. If not, you can look in that site under what is it? Buildback Better Act. Okay. Right. You're gonna see it scrolling on the bottom of your screen. I'm gonna put the link right in there. And there you go. So this is the bill we're talking about, H.R. 5376, Congress Government Buildback Better Act, the one that they passed, that all the Democrats passed, and 13 traitors of the Republican Party passed, but not the rest of the Republicans, because they know the actual economical damage it will do to this country in all aspects and in the future. All right, so that's that. Let's see here. What else here? Let me see what committees. I'm kind of curious. I think it was only House Committee that passed it, but somehow they passed it. I don't know. Here's the other thing, too. We've got 13 traitors on the Republican Party. All the Republican governors in the U.S. need to go after these congressmen and purge them, right along with anybody in the Republican Party, anybody and everybody in the Republican Party. So, yep, right here. Here's a sponsor. It's from Kentucky. He is a Democrat, Republican John Yarmouth. And it did pass. It's on the 6th of this month. Let me check that one out. Latest action. Excuse me while I get a drink. So this one is the HR 774. So this is the one that evidently did pass, which connects to the other one. All right, which is the HR 5376. All right, and I will put that one in there as well. So you have that. So that's a direct link. I'll give you that one too. And I'll put that in there. You guys need to read it and get your other fellow patriots as well as Republicans to read this, of what kind of damage this can do to the nation. Especially, you're going to feel the effects first. Here's my prediction. You're going to feel the effects first over at any state that is Democratic, okay, or they have a Democratic governor. You're going to feel the effects first there. And I'm already hearing right now that the stores on the West Coast from California to Seattle are drying up. I'm also hearing, which I'm hearing even false reports though, that it's the government is paying between $3,000 and $7,000 per acre for the farmers to damage their crops and pull them up basically. Now here's the thing: if the Democrats, and especially Biden, wants a climate change and Green Deal situation, the crops actually put out oxygen, and he's bitching about too much CO2, right, in the air. That's how they do their climate deal thing, right? So how stupid is that? Any crops grown in the nation, okay, corn, we have oat, we have soybean, regular vegetables, tomatoes, etc., and so on and forth, right? All the plants give off oxygen. Yeah. And then he's also passed an infrastructure bill to redo roads and fix them and bridges and all this stuff. Well, Same thing. How do you reduce your CO2? You're using big machinery that puts out like freaking 50 to 100 times more CO2 than an automobile or a regular truck that a person takes to work. You know, farm equipment, okay, or forestry equipment or infrastructure equipment when you fix roads or bridges, all that heavy duty equipment puts out 50 to 100 times more CO2 than a little car does. How is that helping your Green Deal and your climate change there, Mr. Gore and Biden and Harris? Right? I mean, do you want me to go on? I mean, seriously, it doesn't take anybody with a PhD anymore to run this country. Oh my word. I mean, you know, it's like, how much dumber does America gotta get until they either are slaves to the communist, you know, Russia, China, or something else thing, or you know, they're dead. I mean, when is Trump coming back? I mean, is he waiting to totally flatline the country so he can make a big stage appearance? Is that what it's going to take? Is he going to kill off over half his voters before he comes back? Because either what they got either killed off by the CV shot in the arm, or you know, was it because you know they're starving to death because they can't get enough food because they can't afford it, or is it because they can't get gasoline to go to work to get the food, or you know, what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Mr. T, but you need to man up, and it's time that this shit got to get cleaned up now. There's no more talking. There's no more, you know, fancy dancing around the whole politics system shit. You know, you say promises are met and promises are kept. Well, I'm not seeing it yet. And this patriot's starting to lose faith in you. Actions speak louder than words. Anyway, this is a shorty. I'm making you guys do the homework. You guys go check out what they passed and what they snuck by us and what kind of damage it's going to do to our economy. This is the site I've given you that's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. You do your homework. You check it out. I don't have to. Already been there. But you guys need to get at my level. This is Boho with the info. We're out.